We're getting closer and closer to Christmas, and the video game deals have continued to persist. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at 10 awesome PS4 games available for under $20, so if you're on a tight budget and you still want to play some great games, you can definitely do that with these 10 games available at various retailers. Let's get right into this. Final Fantasy XV for $19.99. Final Fantasy XV was one of the long-anticipated games of this generation. Originally announced back in 2006 as Final Fantasy Vs. 13, we finally got our hands on Final Fantasy XV in 2016. While the game had an enormous amount of hype behind it, many would say it didn't live up to expectations, and that's mostly due to a storytelling standpoint. Yeah, the story in FF15 isn't all that great, but it more than makes up for it with its amazing open world and fast and fluid gameplay. Also, this is a game that Square Enix has done a tremendous job of keeping updated and fresh. Along with the various DLC episode content, you've also had free updates with the multiplayer mode and other special events. This is a game that Square Enix is very much committed to, so if you want a game with some longevity behind it, Final Fantasy XV is definitely going to be that game. It's available for $20 at Best Buy, $16 for Gamers Club Unlocked members.
Transcends that of a bodyguard and his liege.
I gotcha!
Gladio's strength means he can charge at the enemy's ranks and wreak havoc over a wide area. As a survivalist, Gladio will retrieve ever more useful items at the end of battles as his ability develops.
When you can't focus, I focus for you. It's my job.
Cities Skylines for $19.99. Cities Skylines is a game that originally released on PC, and it is definitely a more PC-centric game. However, it was ported to the PlayStation 4, and if you don't know what it is, it's a city-building game that's single-player, and it has open-ended gameplay design, allowing a lot of depth and a lot of user input. You engage in urban planning by controlling zoning, road placement, taxation, public services, and public transportation of an area. There's a lot of elements to maintaining a city, and Cities Skylines does a pretty good job of recreating that. If you give Cities Skylines a chance and you get invested into it, this is a game you can spend so many hours on, and it could be the only game you need for the entire holiday season. But it is a game that a lot of console gamers aren't really used to. However, for just $19.99 at GameStop, it is a game worth checking out. Prey for $18. I've said it before, but Prey is one of the most underrated games of 2017. It seems like from a critical standpoint, it was received pretty well, but from a commercial standpoint, you really don't hear a lot of people talking about Prey. It's a reboot of that 2006 sci-fi first-person shooter also titled Prey. That game was supposed to see a sequel. Don't worry about that. Prey is its own new game, and it's a very atmospheric single-player first-person shooter with a good amount of content to it. It was developed by Arcane Studios, published by Bethesda, and they did a great job with the game, and the world design of Prey is top-notch. The gameplay is good, and the story is very gripping as well. Available for just $18 on Newegg, and that price is a steal.
2, 1.
We can fight the invasion. If I can't save us, I'm taking every last one of them with me.
Yakuza Kiwami for $15. Yakuza is a pretty underrated franchise, however, it had a phenomenal 2017. It began in January with the release of Yakuza 0, and then back in August we got Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza Kiwami is actually a remake of the very first Yakuza game. Everything you'd expect out of a remake with better visuals, better technical performance, and there's actually been more content introduced to fix up the story a little bit. Yakuza is a series that's really been gaining some steam, especially with the new releases this year. We have Yakuza 6 coming out next year in March, so now's a great time to check out the very first Yakuza game. And by the way, Yakuza 0 is a prequel, so that's a game that's great for newcomers as well. Kiwami is available for just $15 at Best Buy, $12 for Gamers Club Unlocked members. Dragon's Quest Builders for $19.99. Dragon Quest Builders is not your typical Dragon Quest game. It's not like those traditional RPGs that you've probably played. However, it's actually in the style of a game similar to Minecraft or Terraria, where you build different things, and it does do a good job of implementing some of the Dragon's Quest nuances and RPG traditions. So if you're a fan of Dragon's Quest, there's a lot of fan service here, but just don't be going into it expecting your traditional experience. For just $19.99 at Best Buy, $16 for Gamers Club Unlocked members, it is a game worth checking out.
Better buildings. Once you have the essentials mastered, you can start finding ways to gather more efficiently. Or why not venture forth to the uncharted lands to find rare materials? Of course, it's not just about collecting. Many rewards are won through completing quests for people in need, discovering hidden treasure, and hunting
Mafia III for $10. This is a ridiculous deal. Mafia III was released back in 2016 and it actually had a lot of hype going into it. It was the follow-up to Mafia II, being promoted as an open world game set in a recreation of New Orleans. That sounds like it has a lot of promise. Well, unfortunately, to many gamers, Mafia III was a bit of a disappointment. It really came in the gameplay. A lot of it was very repetitive. However, you still had a sizable amount of content in there, and the voice acting and storytelling was very good, and there's quite a bit to like about Mafia 3. Maybe for the initial $60 price point, that was a bit high, but now for just $10 at Best Buy, $8 for Gamers Club Unlocked members, that's a bargain. Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection for $10. If you own a PS4 and you somehow have not played the amazing Uncharted games by Naughty Dog, you're really doing yourself a disservice, and you need to fix that ASAP, starting with Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection, which is a collection of the first 3 Uncharted games, Uncharted Drake's Fortune, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, as well as Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, all in one package. They're all great games, and even with the very first Uncharted game not aging all too well, it released a decade ago in 2007, Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 are still brilliant games with amazing pacing and great gameplay. The stories are pretty good, and to get all 3 of those games for just $10, that is a steal. And then you should check out Uncharted 4 as well, which you can usually find at a discount.
Shall we?
You get off on all this cheating death.
But that's not how it will end. This is how it will end.
Sorry. Sully! We don't get to choose how we start in this life.
Had to try.
Real greatness.
Speaking of Uncharted, we've got another game in Uncharted: The Lost Legacy for $19.99. Now, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy was actually a standalone expansion to Uncharted 4. It doesn't center around your typical main character Nathan Drake, rather it stars side characters in Chloe Frazer and Nadine Ross. Those 2 characters are pretty integral to the series, so it was a nice change of pace. However, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is a lot more of the same from Uncharted 4. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Uncharted 4 is a tremendous game, and to get 6 to 7 hours of more content that's like Uncharted 4, you really can't complain about that. But as I said, if Uncharted's a series that's foreign to you, start with Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection, then check out Uncharted 4, and then pick up Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. I assume that the majority of you have already played Uncharted 1 to 4, so if that's the case, you should go ahead and check Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. It's a solid pickup at $19.99 over at GameStop.
Asav is getting a head start, and we need to hurry.
We? All right!
I can't let Asav get that tusk.
I will incite my civil war. Stamp out the bloodline of the young king.
Titanfall 2 for $10. Titanfall 2 was obviously the follow-up to Titanfall, and it is everything you would want out of a first-person shooter sequel. This time around, you had a single-player campaign which was absent in the first title, and it was actually pretty good, and on top of that, the multiplayer had so much more depth to it. Respawn did an awesome job building upon the foundation they set with the first Titanfall game. Unfortunately, Titanfall 2 had the fate to be released around the same time as other FPS juggernauts such as Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1, another EA game. Why that happened, I don't know, but Titanfall 2 fell very under the radar because of that. However, if this is a game you have not yet played, please do so. It's a great shooter, and it's available for just $10 at Newegg. For that price, it is such a good deal. And finally, Dishonored 2 for $18. Dishonored was one of the fantastic new IPs that was created last generation, and in 2016 we saw the sequel to Dishonored in Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2, just like Titanfall 2, is everything you want out of a video game sequel, and with the first Dishonored game, that game was received very well, so you can imagine how good Dishonored 2 is with more options in the gameplay. Now you've got 2 playable characters in Emily Caldwin as well as Corvo Otano, so you have reason to play through the game multiple times, and it's just a great action-adventure game. It also has a variety of ways to play. If you want to go stealthy, really avoid conflict, you can do that, or if you want to go head first and slashing everything up, you can do that as well. Dishonored 2 is a must-play title, and at $18 at Newegg, it is a great pickup.
Don't have time for games.
Where is she?
Karnaka, my Karnaka, brothers and sisters of my blood, and all the people who make this great city trundle along. This is the Duke, but you must all know my voice by now.
So that wraps up 10 awesome PlayStation 4 games available right now for under $20. Let us know what you think in the comments section down below if you picked any of these up. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.